Hello and welcome to the Baker Hughes Workstar Walk Around. This is for driver orientation. We're going to try to help you understand some of the features and benefits for these trucks, how they're designed, how they should be operated, some of the maintenance requirements, and basically how to get all the benefit out of the equipment. It's designed to get you to the job consistently, reliably, with low maintenance. And most of all, if you have questions when this is all over, we want you to give us a call. I'm David Harrison with Plyler International, and I am the account manager for the Baker Hughes International Trucks. We're at Hernco Fabrication this morning in Midland, Texas. This is an International Workstar 7600. It's a big bore diesel severe service truck, and it's designed for the larger treater trucks or chemical delivery trucks. Sometimes it's used for a 60-barrel vacuum truck. But the chassis itself is designed for any heavy load you've got off-road virtually anywhere in North America. As we walk around, this exhaust system is tucked under the cab on the passenger side. This is a diesel particulate filter. We'll come back to that. Your battery box, jump start stud mounted on the side of the battery box. The air dryer, which is also a heater. This particular truck is going to North Dakota and has been requested to ship with some cold weather equipment, and we'll come back to that also. If you have a special requirement for your environment, we can meet it, Hernco can meet it, and Baker Petrolite wants you to have it. Now on the driver's side, we go to a single fairly large fuel tank, mainly because of the bodybuilder requirements. They need as much clean frame rail as they can. Again, this one's going to North Dakota. It came with a engine block heater. We've added an oil pan heater, and we've added a fuel tank heater. If you'll notice on the front, that's a winter front, restricts airflow through the radiator and helps gain heat through the engine process. Again, on the fuel tank, this is a water fuel separator that's also a fuel heater. You can visually see when water accumulates, there's a drain cock on the valve where you can just drain it out of the system. It aids in cold weather performance, but we put this filter on as many trucks as we can because today's fuel, the ultra low sulfur diesel, requires as much filtration in aluminum fuel tanks. You won't see steel tanks anymore because the ultra low sulfur diesel has a higher saltwater content and it tends to corrode out the lining. We've had problems with that. To eliminate it, we've gone to aluminum fuel tanks. This truck is a prototype developed over a lot of years. We try to correct any kind of issues you've had in the field historically, and that's why your feedback is so important. Whatever we buy today, whatever we build, you can go to the grocery store, a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. Everything's expensive. So we're going to make it pay. Everything on this truck is designed to enhance performance, lower maintenance, make it easier to drive, make it more comfortable for the driver. Everything's here for a reason. You need to understand all these features to make them pay. All right, as I mentioned, this is a prototype and it's been developed over a long period of time. One of the newest features we're using is the Hendrickson Primax Severe Service Air Suspension. This is 46,000 pound air suspension. It articulates 2.5 inches up and 2.5 inches down. So what that means is it's a more stable platform than the walking beam suspension. It should reduce shock load on the equipment, and it's extremely low maintenance. The only thing we do on this thing is once a year we make sure the U-bolts are torqued that hold the airbags on. There's nothing to grease. If an airbag breaks, you can change it on the side of the road with a single wrench. It's just easy to use, and it's good suspension. Now this rear tandem, it's a 40,000 pound Meritor rear tandem with an extra thick housing. That just means it's made for rugged duty and the higher torque and horsepower we see in today's engines. It's an on-off road axle with, it's rated 40,000 pounds with 46,000 pound Hendrickson air suspension. We got a double frame rail, we got heavy gussets and cross members. This whole platform's designed to be a durable, low maintenance platform for the truck mounted equipment supplied by Ernie Hernandez and his crew and others. Let's take a look under the hood. Air cleaner canister, oil check. This is your power steering fluid. This is where your windshield wiper fluid goes. You notice these are opaque containers. You should be able to just look at them and make sure you're in good shape. On this air filter, and we're going to touch on this several times, there's an air cleaner restriction gauge on the dash, and it measures the vacuum required to pull air through the filter. So if you crawled up there and look down in it and it looks dirty, but the filter restriction gauge says it's doing a good job, leave it alone. Actually, a dirty filter does a better job than a brand new filter as far as cleaning the air going through it. But it's rocket science. If you disturb this filter, you replace it. You never blow it out with an air hose. You could perforate it, but you're definitely going to break all these particulates loose. When you put it back in, crank the engine, it's going to suck all the dirt in. So leave the filter alone unless you're going to replace it. As we look on this side of the engine, you'll see the reservoir for the engine coolant. The only thing that ever goes in there is extended life coolant. There's an additive in there that you won't find in regular antifreeze, and you definitely won't find it in water. Never add water. It's part of the system. It protects the engine. Water will cause severe damage long term. So extended life coolant only goes in there. I don't care if you're broke down on the side of the road. Don't put swamp water, garden hose water, anything but extended life coolant. Over here, now these are on the newer trucks. This is an air conditioner filter that should be replaced when you service the truck. I get a lot of phone calls saying my air conditioner has broken. Well, we find out this filter is plugged and the system wants to protect the compressor, so it'll shut it off. All you got to do is put a new filter in there and it works like a champ. But it's there to lower your maintenance cost. If you mistakenly replaced an air conditioning compressor, you spent a chunk of change, completely avoidable, by changing the filter. Now, there's some locations other than this. You may find the filter here on the new models, up here stuck down under some of the older models, or inside the cab. You need to find out where your air conditioner filter is and change it when you service the truck. Let's look at the cab grab handles. This exterior grab handle's got a rubber insert. It's designed to get you in and out of the cab without slipping. We have a yellow safety interior cab grab handle. We want to give you all the assistance we can getting in and out of the truck. We know there's often snow or mud. It's a rough environment and you're constantly getting in and out of the truck. We'd like to make it easy and safe for you every time. Let's take a look inside the cab. Here's your tilt steering wheel. This particular one is tilting and telescoping. Air horn controls are on the steering wheel. Your cruise control is also a remote throttle. Its controls are here. And the city horn. All right, on your dash display, we have full instrumentation. It gives you all the information about engine temperature and rear axle temperature and air pressure. This little button right here changes, it shows you trip miles, engine hours. Now let's stop on the engine hours. This truck is designed to be maintained full preventive maintenance every 350 hours. Don't look at the engine miles, miles per hour, fuel burned, anything like that. Just make it simple. Every 350 hours we change the oil filter, fuel filter, and air conditioning filter. Or at least check the air conditioning filter. Here's your work lights. It's pre-wired. The body company has hooked their lights onto it. This is a fan override switch. If you're in a stationary operation for an extended period of time, this will engage your engine fan so it doesn't go, the fan clutch doesn't go in and out while you're sitting still. This will do a better job cooling the engine in stationary mode, and it saves wear and tear on the fan clutch. As we come here, when you turn the key on, you'll see all the gauges will sweep that are electric gauges. Here's your air conditioner controls, fairly simple. This Max is a good place for you to leave it when you're in a dirty environment. That just recirculates the air in the cab, doesn't force air through the filter. But that's just when you're in, you know you're going to be in a filthy, dirty environment, just put it on max. You see your air application gauge, axle temperature gauges. This is your air cleaner restriction gauge. If it gets up there at about 15 or so, just keep an eye on it. You may need a new air filter. But until it tells you that it needs a new filter, leave the filter alone. Don't disturb it unless you replace it. Engine retarder, this is your engine brake. You got three would be all 6 cylinders, 2 would be 4, and 1 would just be 2 cylinders. But that's an engine brake. It's probably going to be silent. You won't even know it's on, so you don't have to worry about the signs that say no engine brake. Enable off-road, power divider lock. This is PDL. This engages the front rear axle and the rear axle. This switch is the driver control lock and rear differential. When you engage both of these switches, all your wheels are locked together, front, rear, left, and right, and it's more like driving a tank. Now you lose some steerability in mud or snow because these rear axle wants to push the truck forward, so it might be it wants to slide a little bit on the turns. This will have you turn this on, you'll have a light flash and a bell ring, let you know it's engaged. This will automatically disengage at 25 miles an hour. This is the power to the left and right side. It's just for off-road, and it will pop out at 25 miles an hour. You got your CD player, power takeoff. Here's your regen for the engine. Now all engines today, all your diesels require exhaust gas recirculation. It came out in 2007. Only International has met the 2010 version of the emission standards with exhaust gas recirculation only. You'll see the other guys have to have another reservoir and more equipment. Adds weight and cost. But for a parked regen, you just hit the switch, the engine will idle up, and it'll cook off all the accumulated particulates down in the diesel particulate filter, and it'll automatically shut off when it's through. If you're in a bad spot and you don't want to regen right now, you turn this on and it inhibits the regeneration cycle. Now it's critical you don't leave this on. If you leave it on, the engine can't tell you it needs to regen. So this is just for delaying the process. Now we're going to show you the lights on this dash. The solid yellow light is telling you the system needs to regenerate. The same light, when it starts flashing, is your second level warning. It's saying we really need to regenerate. When the flashing yellow light and this red light come on, it's saying, hey guy, we need to regen right now. Now if you don't do it, it'll go to level 4, which will shut the truck down. The truck will have to be towed to an International dealer. They'll have to tie into it with a computer and force a regen. None of that's warrantable because it's all avoidable. You got the solid yellow light, the flashing yellow light, the flashing yellow light with a buzzer and a red light. It's saying, you know, stop and regen. Now I had one customer that brought his truck in because it wasn't running properly, and we plugged into the computer, and he had a partial regen over 200 times. He never let the system do what it was designed to do. If you're in the regen process and you've got to move the truck, if you hit the accelerator or the brake, you'll kick out the regen and you can drive the truck down the road. But you just had a partial regen. You've got to let the system do what it was designed to do, which is fully regenerate. It'll do it by itself, or if you're going any distance down a road at high RPM, instead of being in high gear, drop down to gear. Run a few miles at the higher engine RPM, and you'll probably build up enough heat to deal with the accumulated trash in the diesel particulate filter. All right, while we're in the truck, I've started it up. I put the transmission This is an 8LL transmission. I put it in third gear.